Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Classic Gamer 74. I am your host, Anthony Gamer, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing sumo games for the Famicom. Now, if you've known me for a couple years, or even a minute, you know that I'm a wrestling fan. And in the past couple years, I've become a big fan of sumo. And it was kind of by accident. My wife and I were watching NHK, and we just decided to check it out. And we've been hooked ever since. And I'll tell you, I just kind of have lost interest in pro wrestling for here recently. And I've just really been a big fan of sumo. And I just can't get enough of it. And to be honest, once you get past the butt cheeks, it's really a fascinating sport. And there's a reason why it's been around for probably close to 1,000 years. I won't really spend this video going into the rules and the traditions and all the move sets and all the things related to sumo because this video would be hours and hours long. I'll just kind of let you know that the basic rules of sumo are that you either want to take your opponent off their feet, or throw them out of the ring. That's basically it. Now, I would honestly have to say that my three favorite sumo wrestlers in the top division are the following. Number one, of course, would have to be Hakuoho. He is an up-and-coming wrestler, very young, around 21 years old. And I predict that someday he is probably going to be Yokozuna. He was set back by an injury a couple years ago, but I think slowly but surely he's making his way back. He didn't do too great in the last tournament in November, but keep an eye on this guy. Next one is Asakoru, short little fire plug with more muscles than fat, but very fast, very strong, and didn't do too bad in the last tournament. Actually, he did get a special prize, and I think that he is also the future of sumo. If he doesn't make it in sumo, I think he has a possible career as a wide receiver in the NFL. And of course, my ultimate favorite has to be Hoshoru, who I predicted 2 years ago would be Yokozuna, and he is. He's had a little bit of a rough time as Yokozuna. He has yet to win a tournament as Yokozuna, but I think he is going to stay on top for quite some time. So any of the rest of you that are into sumo and are currently watching, who is your favorite Rikishi? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you're interested in checking out Grand Sumo, the tournaments happen every other month, and you can check those out on NHK. So check your local listings and let me know what you think. All right, that's enough of me fanboying out for a while. We're here to talk about the games. Now, there were 3 sumo games made for the Famicom. I have to say Famicom because as sumo is not big on this side of the pond, they were never released here in America. So these 3 games, being that they were made in Japan, of course, have that Japanese difficulty that those of us that are playing Japanese games are used to. But regardless, we're going to check them out. So without further ado, let's get into the games. And our first game for today is called Chia no Fuji no Uichio, which translates to mean the great ginkgo tree of Chia no Fuji. Okay, so when this game starts, you have to decide what you want to do. You have player versus player, you have tournament mode, then you have career mode, which is what I am selecting. Then you have to choose your Rikishi or your fighter's name. I have chose the name Great Young Dragon. Now, this game is all in Japanese, and I don't speak Japanese, nor do I read Japanese. So how did I do it? Well, I used Google Translate, which, of course, is the easy way to do it. So here I am trying to select my name using Google Translate. How do you do that? Well, you just hold your phone up to the screen, use the use the video mode, and it will translate the characters for you. So that's what I'm doing, going through, looking at the characters, and I am going to select my name based on those characters. So let's skip ahead Oh, it's just taking me a second here to select my name, and then we will jump right into the tournament. Now, sumo tournaments are 15 days long, and the winner is selected by who gets the most wins. Now we are going in to select what my wrestler looks like. You pick the eyes, you pick the nose, and the mouth. Pretty self-explanatory there. You want your wrestler to look, I guess, whatever. I'm trying to make it look not as goofy as possible. I guess as fierce as I can, so I'm just kind of selecting here. As I said, you want to get what's called a kachigochi, which means that you want more wins than losses. So that's your goal. A machigochi is when you get more losses than wins. And here we are, we're getting ready to begin. You can select whether you want to watch the other matches or not. I'm going to select that I will skip my opponent's matches and just watch and only participate in mine. Now, of course, like any sumo tournament, the opening matches usually are pretty easy. Now, of course, you only have 2 buttons to work with. So we begin, and pushing and thrusting is usually the easy way to win matches, just like in real sumo tournaments. Oh, and I lost my first match. I got thrown down, and I lost. Okay, so now you would think that using like a max controller or button mashing would be the way to go. Yes and no. It just really depends. See again, lost again. You get the hang of it after a while, figuring out what the 2 buttons do, and button mashing kind of does help, but not really. Now, if you look down there at the bottom, you see like the power and you kind of sometimes will have a power advantage over your opponent. It just really depends. You can kind of figure it out just by trial and error. It really just depends. Like I said, give the game a try and you'll figure out, how it works, basically. Like I said, it's a trial and error game. Once you kind of get the hang of it, you get the hang of it. It's just one of those type of games. You can see I'm not doing so well. My first tournament, So now after the tournament's over, you get so many points. I guess participation points. You can use those to work on your speed, work on your strength, and then you have training with your stable master, and he will teach you new techniques and stuff like that. So yeah, just like a real tournament, like a real sumo career, and you want to get more wins than losses, just like a real career. So you can see as I get along, I get a little bit better, but right now I'm being made a fool of by my opponent. Like I said, early in your career, until you get the hang of it, try to do more pushing, thrusting than you instead of throw moves. They kind of work a little bit better for you. But it just really depends on your opponent. So I think I actually do win this match. I don't know. Yep, I did. Finally won my first match. All right. So like I said, this game's not too bad. Practice. But overall, like I said, this game is a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun learning and figuring it out. So I do highly recommend this game. Actually, I recommend all 3 of the games, especially if you are into sumo and you have always wanted to try out a sumo game. Give this one a try. And our next game is called Terra no Dosiku Uzo Umo, which translates to Terra os Dosokuo Sumo. And I'll read you the description that came with it, and it says Terra no Dosokuo Uzo Umo, sorry, I don't read Japanese, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, is a sumo game for the NES Famicom. The story mode takes place on a small RPG-style map on which you will encounter random battles, gain experience, and find items. Defeat the champions of the various sumo gyms around Japan, and you will move on to the professional circuit, after which the game becomes a round-robin tournament-style fighting game. Win consistently in the professional circuit to move up the rankings. When you manage to reach the highest status possible and win the final tournament without losing any matches, you will be crowned the grand champion of sumo. Now this one's kind of interesting as you walk around and fight these various fights. You unlock new moves and money, which you can use to purchase gear, unlock new moves, and all kinds of cool stuff. It's a really interesting game. I like the RPG style of the game and really had a lot of fun playing this one. This one's a little more difficult than the previous one, as your opponents are just brutal and they will really beat the crap out of you. And it takes a lot of money, which you earn by winning matches only. So the difficulty curve is really high on this one. And I really am going to keep trying this one so that I can try to unlock some new moves and keep going with this one. So definitely a lot more difficult than the previous game, but still a lot of fun. And our final game for today basically translates to mean Shove Sumo, and it was made by Tecmo. And of course it was made by Tecmo. Who knows sports games better on the NES than Tecmo? So in this game, it's basically a sumo tournament. You are a sumo wrestler and you are fighting against opponents, and you have two moves at your disposal, the shove attack and a grapple move. Now, this one is not a button masher. There are techniques involved, which I learned the hard way. Because again, I used a Max controller and I basically just tried using the turbo buttons, and it doesn't exactly work that way. You have to use the regular buttons too. It's about technique and other things like that. Boy, this game is so much fun, and it's silly. It's Tecmo, so you know it's going to be a cool game, and it's going to be silly, and it's going to be fun, and it's all of those things and more. Even the training montages are great. Between the matches, you take part in training exercise such as eating a lot of rice in order to increase the player's stamina bar. Oh, it's great. This one here is just so much fun. It really honestly is. And again, you start off relatively easy with your opponents, and they get harder and harder. But there are little hints along the way to tell you when to perform your specialty moves and stuff. Give this one a try and give it some time, because the results of it are really worth the time and the effort you put into this. Of the three, this one is definitely the best and well worth the time you put into it, hands down. Well, that brings this episode of Classic Gamer 74 to a close. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, let me know by giving me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to click that little bell icon down there so you'll be notified when I upload any new episodes. So, connect with me on all my social media platforms. Check out my books on Amazon if you haven't already. I got so many in a lot of different genres. You can purchase them in paperback, audiobook, and in ebook format. Check out my Patreon, where you'll find some cool videos you won't find anywhere else. And check out my Teespring store, where you can get some cool Classic Gamer 74 gear just in time for the holidays. Well, until next time, this has been Anthony Gamer, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, be strong, be safe, be happy, be healthy, and above all, take care of each other, be kind to each other, and stop hate of all kinds. God bless, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.